There's a joke about a priest who walks past a beautiful garden in which a man is hard at work. "Ah," says the priest, "isn't it wonderful what God and man can do when they work together?" The gardener looks up and says, "Yes, but you should have seen it when God had it to himself."
And this probably sums up Germany's approach to nature. It's very beautiful and it needs to be protected at all costs, but it also needs to stay where it is, out of the way, or at least to behave itself.
Sure, in the cities you can find tree-lined avenues aplenty, just as long as they don't get out of control and start marching across the landscape like some scene out of a horror movie. Best keep them in order, in tidy rows, or isolated so they can't conspire. But there's a downside. Trees make a mess.
Which is not a problem in the big cities that have the budgets to cope with this issue, but in smaller towns it's a different story. The litany of complaints against trees is staggeringly long. They make a mess. They attract birds, which make a mess. They attract insects, which are just unpleasant. They get in the way, they block the light, bits of them can fall off and land on people and cars.
And this explains why some urban trees get the kind of annual pruning that makes them the laughing stock of their rural relatives.
This is an article about one family's attempt to get the council to remove a tree on the grounds that it's got a little bit too big and it makes a mess and creates dust. Also, there's the consideration that somebody somewhere might have hay fever.
In general, trees and vegetation should be carefully segregated, behind bars if necessary. Flowers are acceptable, but must be confined to special containers. It doesn't matter how ugly the containers are, they have a practical use. It's the flowers that are supposed to be pretty.
Now, if you think I'm being a little bit unreasonable here, you have to remember that I grew up in a country where everything is contrived to look spontaneous and natural, with flowers just growing apparently at random out of the walls. In Germany, you can actually make money selling a special tool for getting seedlings out from the cracks between paving stones.
And homeowners do this with a dedication that leaves us outsiders shaking our heads in a mixture of admiration and despair. And also, you must plant plants with plenty of room between them to encourage weeds to grow so that you can spend time digging them out again. If that's too much like hard work, then don't have any plants in your garden at all.
You have to remember that this is a country that in some places actually employs people in late summer to pick the leaves off the trees before they fall and make a mess. It's the role of Germans to show nature how it should be done. And if you want to see what the holy grail of small town planning in Germany looks like, this is it. Pretty, isn't it?